What is up, guys? NYKia31 here, Madden 21, and this is the third and final online CFM that I am in, the Usfl, and I'm using the Minnesota Vikings. And I played two games last night with the patch, two league games with the patch, and I observed the comings and goings regarding the patch on Twitter as well, and I also messed around in practice mode a bit. And it's not a good sign when you release a patch that is supposed to be extensive, and the knee-jerk response within the first, no, not even a knee-jerk response, the response, dang near universal response, right off the bat within about 5 minutes, is the game was playing better 24 hours ago. And that's not a good sign. Not a good sign at all. There's a lot of stuff here that is problematic, which I don't agree with, as well as some new issues that have cropped up. Now, the big thing that people are talking about are wide receiver drops. All day, people were posting on Twitter their receivers dropping wide open, easy passes. And it was here's the first thought I had was, since they were all in Ultimate Team, was okay, is this a competitive setting bug or an Ultimate Team specific bug that's happening across the board? What's happening? Because it's clearly a bug. There's no way that was intended. And that leads us to issues as far as QA and how something like that can be missed and not tested when the community reported it happening within 5 minutes. So I was wondering, is it just happening on comp? Is it happening on sim? Is it happening online? Is it happening offline? Is it happening in the yard? And all reports are that it was happening everywhere. Now, I played two games, and this game, neither of us dropped any passes. A lot of us, we were doing a lot of user catching, but people were posting clips of their user catches being dropped. And in the second game I played, my opponent had a wide open drop. I didn't have any, so I saw one drop in the two games that I played. But the issue is there. It's happening to people multiple times a game. Just routine open catches just being doinked. So anytime you need a patch for the patch, that's horrible. And this is something that has to be, remedied really fast. You have people who are playing online modes for qualifying for Madden tournaments. You have online leagues. You have offline. You have the yard. You just can't have this. It's horrible. So you have that. That's the major thing. And they did do some things as far as cleaning up bugs and man coverage with route swapping and dropping when guys are put in motion and things like that. They also succeeded in pissing off gun bunch users by restricting their ability to motion snap their receiver out wide and get a snap throw to that guy on verticals. But they did that in the wrong way. The thing the approach that they take to these kind of things, which I don't like, is that they bastardize coverages to account for exploits and legacy issues. And what ends up happening is it ends up being buggy in some other way. For example, in quarters now, the quarters solo trips check is gone. It's complete spot drop for trips. Palms is still fine, C6 is still 9, but the solo check in quarters and in C9 versus trips, it's now complete spot drop, post-patch. And there were no coverage improvements otherwise as far as improvements to cover 2. You can still just gash the sideline on a streak between the corner and the safety in Tampa 2, and nothing has changed as far as the only thing that I saw at a C3 was a C3 match and buzz match. They're not turning number 2 loose vertical down the seam. You still have to use the over route, but the number 2 vertical is being at least obstructed. They still play trips flood horribly, but they're playing 4 verts better, so hurrah for that, I guess. That's it. Other than that, reactions are the same. Nothing else has been improved upon as far as that's concerned. So really, the only coverage bugs that they addressed were bugs as a result of motion snapping. That's pretty much it. They tuned down the Jurtle animation. That's pretty much it. No improvements to pursuit, uh, interior linemen defending the run, pass rush, none of that. But they did add a couple of abilities, and this really illustrates the problem with the direction the game has taken as far as the abilities are concerned. Because run commit does not work, it's a stupid feature anyway. Run commit shouldn't even be in the game. Program proper run fitting and pursuit, tackling, and be done with it. Alignment. Run commit should not be in the game. But be that as it may, it is, but it doesn't work. People run commit on folks, and they still give up runs, big runs. They still give up positive yardage, and it's a pretty much borderline useless feature. So rather than fix the feature, they add a run committed ability. It says defenders with this ability will dominantly win run blocks when they correctly use the guess play adjustment to predict a run. Incorrect guesses will result in a loss. So since they're not playing the run when they run commit, rather than fix the run commit, you have to now have an ability to get them to defeat blocks when run committing. That's lunacy. That's complete and utter lunacy. They also have pass committed. Defenders with this ability will win pass blocks when they correctly use the guess play adjustment to predict the pass. Incorrect guesses will result in a loss. So to get these edge rushers and pass rushers in general, interior or exterior, to do anything, I don't like the approach that they took with the pass rushers this year. What they did was, well, they still have edge threat and edge threat elite. They took away the abilities like power specialists and finesse specialists, where your pass rushers with edge threat or edge threat elite, power specialists, finesse specialists, they'd get after it, AI controlled. What they've done is because they wanted to steer users towards user defensive line control, is that they now have individual pass rush move abilities instead of power specialist and finesse specialist. They have Speedster, they have El Toro, which is a bull rush ability, Rip, Club, Spin and Swim. Those have taken the place of passive pass rush abilities outside of edge threat. But the problem is the AI is not triggering those moves aggressively. When you use them, they trigger strong, but not. I've yet to come across. I've come across maybe 2 people in all the games that I've played that were committed to just using the pass rush abilities. They're not being used. People are still playing with linebackers and safeties for the most part, and as a result, you have pass rushers that are not doing anything because you still have edge threat and edge threat elite. They're not as strong as they were last year, but they're still pretty potent. But if you especially if you don't have abilities on your tackles, but the interior linemen, because they don't have the equivalent of edge threat or edge threat elite, they have to have these pass rush ability moves. They're not doing much, so you have to slap pass committed on them. It's crazy. It's nuts. These are the things that needed to be tweaking, and if they did that, I would say that 95% of the community would have been happy. Coverage bugs in C2, C3, and match coverages. Fix the coverage bugs. Address the pass rush of my non-user controlled defensive linemen. Address the poor run defense as far as poor run fitting is concerned, which is still a problem, which is still resulting in a overpowered run game. There are people that are still frustrated with the effectiveness of man coverage, and the way I feel about that, all coverages should be viable. It shouldn't be a predominantly man coverage game, shouldn't be a predominantly zone coverage game. All coverages should be available in the toolbox for you to use, and then how you want to play it is up to how you want to play and who you have on the field. Is it a little bit too tight, especially with abilities like bench press? Probably so, but I don't want it loosened too much. Man coverage beaters with receivers that have the goods to get open should get open against matchups that they have the advantage of, but also good corners that have the goods to be able to do their thing. Again, respect matchups as well as route concepts, and then use the abilities to augment that, as opposed to step an ability on somebody and you can press a receiver into the ground, or slap an ability on a receiver and you can nullify whoever's guarding you. That's the thing about abilities that I don't like. They become necessary in order for guys to do their basic job, and I think that is a flawed approach to take with them. So yeah, the response to this patch was not good at all, and rightfully so. The question is how quickly and how easily whatever was damaged can be reverted, and also whether they can properly test these things and also get to the stuff that still needs to be addressed. Where are our forced defenders? Where are the fixes to the coverages that we're still waiting on? Those things still need to be addressed, as well as reversing the damage from this patch. We were better off playing without this one. We really were. There you see my cover 3 corner with his back turned to the receiver. Stuff like that's still going on, just completely in oblivion. So anyway, that's that as far as the overview of the patch. Now, as far as what's going on in this game here, this is week 2 of the USFL game, and I'm in a barn burner here against the Colts. We're in the 4th quarter, and this game was going back and forth. And I got the Vikings, got my buddy Harrison Smith and Kyle Rudolph, the Minnesota Fighting Irish, I guess you can call them. They're an interesting squad. You got Adam Thielen, who's really, really good. I really enjoyed using Thielen and Dalvin Cook. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with Kirk Cousins. He's not really my style of quarterback. I don't like pop gun arm QBs, and his athleticism is middling. So that remains to be seen how long I stick with Kirk Cousins for. Oh, that's another thing that you see Harrison Smith there. They said that they tweaked Enforcer, when Enforcer, by all reports, wasn't really doing all that much anyway. Oh my goodness. I just don't understand the approach that went into this update. I don't understand it at all. But anyway, we're in OT here, and he is marching down the field, trying to score a touchdown on his first drive to get a walk-off score. But here on 3rd and 3, he is going to throw an INT. See, they made a mistimed button press or a mispress on his controller. But unfortunately for him, it ends up as an INT. So we're in position to win it here. And here's Dalvin Cook. He has jukebox, and he's just a real fun back to use in space. And here's Mr. Thielen doing his thing. The receiving core is not that bad. Between him and Jefferson and Sharp, they're pretty darn. They're not bad. The problem with this team is they have some really hideous offensive linemen. Even for this game, they get beat quite often. That's how badly rated some of their offensive linemen are. They're just really poor in that regard. We're getting close to field goal range late in the game, and it's going to come down to an iced kick. It is going to be up, and it is going to shank really badly. That surprised me. I did not think that. Well, yeah. So it misses, and with 2 seconds left, it's just a Hail Mary situation. Philip Rivers with his pop gun arm isn't going to get it there, so he's going to put in Jacoby Brissett, and unless there's a PI penalty, the game's over, and the game's over. So we end in a tie, so we're 1-0-1, 2 games in. So that is that. That's my patch overview. It is not a good one. There are still plenty of unresolved problems and now new ones. And, we'll just have to wait and see what the heck happens from here. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that, and I'll talk to y'all laters. Peace.